Your father was a well-known lawyer. You trace your ancestry back to the Mayflower. You have great literary friendships. You founded a magazine. You've had a chance to pursue every young man's fantasy. I want you to be candid and tell me about George Plimpton.
For those of you who haven't heard of Plimpton, and I suppose it's fair to think that most of you haven't, it's a little difficult to know where to begin an introduction. Plimpton's a writer. He is an editor of the Paris Review. And after that, he's, well, a collector of experiences. Experiences like boxing Archie Moore, playing quarterback for the Detroit Lions, or percussion for the New York Philharmonic under Leonard Bernstein. The list could go on and on. It's obvious, of course, that no one could be that good, and Plimpton certainly isn't.
This here's your warrant, mister.
George Plimpton. And today, they will be joined in their trapeze spectacular by Mr. George Plimpton.
I'm a participatory journalist, which means that I enter other people's professions in order to write articles and books on what happens. It's like a type of transformation. You become what you want to become. Well, as you can see, I am not properly constituted to fight. And not only that, but I suffer from something called sympathetic response, which means that if you're hit, you weep.
I remember seeing a letter from Hemingway to a friend of mine saying, "This kid is the real thing."
And I thought, well now, this is what I'm going to do in life.
George on paper found an audience. His use of language was formidable.
I decided finally to pack the football.
What do your literary friends think of all this dabbling in sports? Is that slumming as far as they're concerned, or do they think it's an exhilarating thing?
I don't think there's any name you could name that he hadn't either befriended or published in the Paris Review.
The Paris Review staff has no formal meetings, but it has lots of informal ones.
As much of a patrician as George was, he liked people to let loose.
Everybody showed up.
He lived for that. He loved every pair of adoring eyes.
Jacqueline Kennedy was an old friend of his. I think George may be going out with her.
Like my father, he saw life as a great adventure. George never wanted to lose his chance.
I turned and saw a girl leaning over the rail of the grandstand behind me. I looked at her out of my helmet. Then I lifted a hand, just tentatively.
Tomorrow is going to be the decision as to which direction California is going to go in. Which direction, really, the United States might go in. Which direction George Plimpton will go in. All of these major questions.